Good morning. Welcome to Arlington Street Church, gathered in love and service for justice and peace. Welcome to the soul of Sunday. We are Unitarian Universalists. Ours is a historic faith with a progressive theology. We affirm the worth and dignity of every being, and that we are all deeply interconnected. We are bound to one another not by creed, but by covenant, and we are called to love with open minds, open hearts, and open hands. Whoever you are, those of all nations, all creeds, all colors, all kinds of love, you are welcome here.
Good morning. I'm Rebecca Reed, this morning's worship coordinator. Reverend Ali and I couldn't do this without Director of Music Mark David Buckles, Hyungju on piano, and the Arlington Street Church Choir. Kel Alford supporting the Zoom congregation, as well as the tech team, greeters, ushers, worship team, and coffee hour hosts. A special thank you to our wonderful guest musician, Joe Della Pena, who is joining us for today's worship. Thank you, friends. If you're new to Arlington Street, welcome. We are so glad you're here and would love to stay connected. I hope you will visit our website at ascboston.org and sign up for Snapshot, our weekly e-newsletter. Please be sure you've got a copy of today's order of service. It's available on the homepage at ascboston.org, and there are printed copies at the great doors. On the last pages of the order of service, you'll find information on upcoming Arlington Street events. There is lots going on both in person and on Zoom, and we'd love to see you this week. If you would like to submit an announcement, please email the church office at office@ascboston.org by Wednesday evening so it can be included in the e-newsletter and the order of service. Each Sunday, we share our community candles of sorrow and joy. These candles can be submitted in advance through our website. If you came this morning with a joy or a concern on your heart, you're invited to light a candle at home and share in the chat, or come up and light a silent candle at the table to the right of the Gleason podium. I hope all of you in the in-person congregation will plan to join us in the Honeywell Chapel right through the leather door up front right after the service. Those of you on Zoom are invited to stay on for remote fellowship as well. Rich is going to turn the camera on the in-person congregation as we wave and smile at each other, as well as at our friends in the Zoom room. And you all in the Zoom room can wave and smile back. Hello, friends. Let's all engage that Arlington Street spirit of welcome that transcends physical distance as we greet one another heart to heart. Whether you've been coming here for years or today is your first time at Arlington Street, welcome home. Our first hymn today is number 1000, Morning Has Come. The words can be found in your order of service and the teal hymnal and in the chat. Please rise in body, rise in spirit, and join in singing Morning Has Come.
Joy
Thank you. Robin Wall-Kimmier is a Potawatomi botanist, author, and the director of the Center for Native Peoples and the Environment at the State University of New York College of Environmental Science and Forestry. Her work, Braiding Sweetgrass: Indigenous Wisdom, Scientific Knowledge, and the Teachings of Plants, calls us to look closely at plant life and its relationship to humans. On this eve of Indigenous Peoples Day, we light our chalice with words from Kimmerer's Braiding Sweetgrass. Even a wounded world is feeding us. Even a wounded world holds us, giving us moments of wonder and joy. I choose joy over despair, not because I have my head in the sand, but because joy is what the earth gives me daily, and I must return the gift.
Our next hymn is Love Will Guide Us by Sally Rogers. It's in the hymnal at number 131, but if you're looking there, you won't have all of the lyrics because she actually wrote several more verses that for some reason we didn't include in our hymnal, but they're really good. So they're in the order of service and in the chat, and we'll sing them all together. I invite us to rise in body, rise in spirit. Let's sing Love Will Guide Us. 1 and 2 and 3.
Inside us.
is now time for our treasured ritual of sharing community candles of sorrow and joy. In addition to sharing our joys and sorrows this morning, let's reach out to one another in the week ahead, staying connected. May these times remind us of how very precious this beloved community is. We need one another. Whether together or apart, may we stay very close. Let's join in singing Sanctuary. The words are printed in your order of service and in the chat.
Some of us come today with heavy hearts. We open our hearts to you.
A candle of continued concern for all those impacted by this week's Hurricane Milton. May we all work together to create a miraculous response of love and support to our earth and to all impacted. A final candle of sorrow from Joy Geis. Please keep my brothers and me in your prayers. After a recent fall and many years with Alzheimer's, my mother is now in a nursing home and on hospice. Wishing her peace on her journey.
Some of us come today in joy. We share your joy.
A candle of joy from Arlington Street Church for our Jewish neighbors as they marked Yom Kippur yesterday with efforts to ask forgiveness of God and of one another. May we find a beautiful example in their practice and always hold hope for the ways we can do better and heal. A candle of joy from Donna Hobart that my daughter's surprise baby shower is coming up soon. She is 6 months along and carrying an IVF baby. A final candle of joy from Kevin Tyrell. I'm happy to report that after my cardiac event and stent procedure in April, I graduated from my 18-week-long cardiac rehab class on Tuesday. All of my health metrics look great, and I've joined my local YMCA to keep up and increase all of the gains that I've made.
For all the sorrows and all the joys we hold in our hearts, we light a silent candle to remember and to rejoice. May the peace of this sanctuary enter into our hearts as we share a quiet moment together, breathing our prayers for ourselves, for one another, for our country, for all nations, and for all beings. Amen.
Please join in saying the affirmation and covenant of this beloved spiritual community. The words are printed in your order of service and in the chat. Love is the spirit of this congregation, and service is our gift. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to speak our truths in love, and to help one another. El amor es el espíritu de nuestra congregación, y el servicio es nuestro regalo. Esto es a lo que nos comprometemos, convivir en paz, hablar nuestras verdades con amor, y ayudarnos los unos a los otros.
Don't be upset or mad at all. Don't feel regret or sad at all. Hey, I'm still a part of the family madrigal, and I'm fine, I am totally fine. I will stand on the side as you shine. I'm not fine, I'm not fine. I can't move the mountains, I can't make the flowers bloom, I can't take another night up in my room waiting on a miracle. I can't heal what's broken, can't control the morning rain or the hurricane, can't keep down the unspoken invisible pain. Always waiting on a miracle, always walking alone, always wanting for more, like I'm still at that door, longing to shine, like all of you shine. All I need is a change, all I need is a chance. All I know is I can't stand on the side. Open your eyes, open your eyes, open your eyes. I would move the mountains, make new trees and flowers grow. Someone please just let me know, where do I go? I am waiting on a miracle, a miracle. Say I would heal what's broken, show this family something new, who I am inside. So what can I do? I'm sick of waiting on a miracle. So here I go, I am ready. Come on, I'm ready. I've been patient and steadfast and steady. Bless me now as you blessed us all those years ago when you gave us a miracle. Am I too late for a miracle?
Thank you so much. I feel like that could have been our sermon, really. Thank you. Our reading for today is John chapter 6, verse 1 through 14, the International Children's Bible. After this, Jesus went across Lake Galilee. Many people followed him because they saw the miracles he did to heal the sick. Jesus went up on a hill and there sat down with his followers. It was almost time for the Jewish Passover feast. Jesus looked up and saw a large crowd coming toward him. He said to Philip, "Where can we buy bread for all these people to eat?" Philip answered, "Someone would have to work almost a year to buy enough bread for each person here to have only a little piece." Another follower there was Andrew. He was Simon Peter's brother. Andrew said, "Here is a boy with 5 loaves of barley bread and 2 little fish, but that is not enough for so many people." Jesus said, "Tell the people to sit down." This was a very grassy place. There were about 5,000 men who sat down there. Then Jesus took the loaves of bread, he thanked God for the bread, and gave it to the people who were sitting there. He did the same with the fish. He gave them as much as they wanted. They all had enough to eat. When they had finished, Jesus said to his followers, "Gather the pieces of fish and bread that were not eaten. Don't waste anything." So they gathered up the pieces that were left. They filled 12 large baskets with the pieces that were left of the 5 barley loaves. The people saw this miracle that Jesus did. They said, "He must truly be the prophet who was coming to the world." I work as a hospital chaplain, and I often share stories from the great work that I get to bear witness to. When I do this, I change identifying details to protect my patients and their loved ones and my colleagues, but I keep the essence of what happened. This first story is about a patient I'll call Martha. Martha had suffered a brain injury, and after many tests, the team was preparing to meet with Martha's family to share detrimental results and discuss options for next steps. I joined the large care team meeting with Martha's nieces. The neurologist explained that the test showed Martha would never be able to speak or to comprehend language. She would never be able to walk. The doctor believed Martha would be deaf and she would be blind. She expressed her deep condolences as we waited for Martha's family to respond. "We have faith," her niece said. "We believe in miracles. God made the blind see, and he will make her see." Not knowing what to say, the doctor turned to look at me, the chaplain. Years before Martha was on this unit, a young man that I'll call Antonio was here. He had moved here from far away to attend college, and it was only his 2nd semester. He collapsed and was brought to the hospital with many failing organs. His family lived multiple flights away. The care team met before calling his family for an update. Despite their efforts, they didn't believe there was anything more they could do to save Antonio. His father spoke a language that was not common here, and we used a language line to help us. Upon hearing this update, his father pleaded, "You don't have to speak the language to know when somebody is pleading with you." The interpreter explained, "He wants to be with his son when his son dies. He has been trying all week to get a visa, and every attempt has been denied. He says, 'Please don't let my son die without his father.'" All of us had tears at the injustice, the devastation, and what felt like hopelessness. We were silent. The ICU attending looked at me and said, "Well, Allie, we need a miracle to make that happen." I have a lot of stories when I hear the word miracle, and I wonder what you think of when you think of miracles. Many of us first learned about miracles as extraordinary events that manifest divine intervention in our human affairs. We learned about miracles as something we cannot make happen on our own. Miracles are something we pray for and wait desperate for God to intervene and make something extraordinary happen. Like Mirasol from the movie Encanto, we are left waiting on a miracle. And when we are waiting, the stakes are incredibly high just as they were for Martha and her family and for Antonio and his family. Can I tell you a secret? I am not very well versed in the Bible. I do have 12 years of Catholic school education, but when the Bible started to be used against me and my LGBTQ community, I sort of stopped listening. Then I went to divinity school, but while there, I petitioned to take classes like Virginia Woolf as sacred text instead of Bible classes. When patients quote a specific passage of the Bible, I often use my safety response. It goes like this. Chaplain, you know Isaiah chapter 41? I don't. I look at Connor. Connor, tell me what Isaiah 41 means to you and why you turn to it. And I find I learn all that I need to know. The Bible is full of miracles. As a child, I was mesmerized, absolutely mesmerized by them. They made God a magical source, able to do anything. And I was less scared of bad things happening because when that happened, God could just make a miracle happen. But as I got older and I prayed for miracles and I didn't get them, I felt abandoned. Growing up is hard. There are difficult lessons and the world is complicated, but sometimes there is beauty in the complexity. I have found this to be true for the Bible. There are many different interpretations. Some of these interpretations got me to start listening again. Let me tell you about one of my favorite examples of this beautiful complexity. For today's reading, we heard the story about the fishes and the loaves. The interpretation I learned in my religion classes growing up was that this is a miracle that Jesus made happen. He literally multiplied the few pieces of food into enough to feed thousands. This is something a regular person can't do on their own. When I was in grad school, I attended a lecture where a Catholic priest, whose name I wish I could remember, talked about this passage. Sure, he said, you can take this literally, that Jesus turned a few loaves of bread and fish into enough to feed the crowd. But my favorite way to read this is that it tells of a miracle that humans are capable of. Jesus was, after all, God in human form. I think about the person who had the food. I believe the miracle is that Jesus' teachings of service and love were so effective that they inspired sharing. Those who had food shared, and people saw their example and they shared too. The sharing spanned so far that everyone had enough to eat. A miracle, yes, but a miracle within our reach. When you look up the definition of a miracle, the first includes the divine, but the second does not. The definition is an extremely outstanding or unusual event or thing or accomplishment. I'm not too concerned about debating whether or not God can manifest miracles for us. Working in a hospital, I've seen so many people and so many staff pray and wait for something that medicine has said is impossible. Sometimes it happens. More often it does not. And all those begging for their miracle are deserving. I'm glad to let mystery be mystery. But mystery is not within our control. When we believe the only pathway to a miracle is to wait for God, there's not much we can do. But if we believe there are some miracles that we can make happen, we propel our love and our ideas and our actions into something outstanding and something that can change the course of our lives. Another note in the dictionary's definition of miracle proclaims A miracle is an extraordinary and astonishing happening that is attributed to the presence and action of an ultimate divine power. Some of us hear this and we might think this means a God apart from us. Some of us might hear this and stop listening. Here's my suggestion. Let's hear this and think about the divine power as being within each of us, within all beings. Maybe we think of this as a part of a God that lives in each of us. Maybe we think of this as a powerful source of love within each of us. Or maybe we think of this as the thing within each of us that we know is inherently good and worthy. Our faith tells us this. If we believe each of us has something inherently sacred within us, imagine what we are capable of. Imagine the miracles we can create. Let me tell you what happened to Antonio and his family. For over 2 weeks, our government said no to Antonio's father's pleas to come and be with his son. His father spoke no English and had never been out of the country. His sister did speak English, and his niece had been to the US. Both also applied to be here. The unit mobilized. Other units mobilized. Anyone who had any connection used it. Finally, we heard that Antonio's father, Joe, was granted a visa. His sister and his niece were not. Antonio's team was worried. How are we going to keep him safe? Where will he stay? How will he get here? Should we be doing this? Joe's neighbors pulled their money to help pay for his flight. Antonio had made friends in college who were from the same country. One friend was local. His mom offered to take Joe in. His mom's church offered to share meals. A nurse's extended family was from a nearby place, and she put together a basket of familiar wrapped snacks to keep in Antonio's room. Our interpretive services director brought Antonio his own translator iPad to stay in the room for Joe. I talked with Antonio's friend's mom, and together we made a flip book of translated phrases for Joe to keep with him while he navigated the city. Please help me get to Tufts Medical Center at 800 Washington Street. I need help. Please call my niece at this number and she will help us. Joe arrived. He was so often not alone. Antonio's friends, their families, their church, our doctors, our nurses, our housekeepers. We kept vigil with him until Antonio passed away with his dad holding his hand. I think about what Antonio's doctor had said to me weeks before when Joe told us he needed to get here. We need a miracle to make that happen. So many people came together to create the miracle. Neighbors, healthcare workers, friends, congregants, all using their sacred love and coming together to create something extraordinary. Another story from an intensive care unit, this time about a patient I'll call Lily, who was rushed into the unit unconscious and accompanied by 2 armed guards. She was arrested for assault just before she collapsed, her nurse explained. Family is on the way, it doesn't look good. Her grandma, I'll call Nancy, came in not too long later. As the team provided an update, she said, "We just need God to save her." When I came to check on Nancy later in the day, she was angry, telling me, "I can't believe those guards need to be outside the room. Lily is on a ventilator, she can't go anywhere. Everyone is going to see them and decide who Lily is, that she's a bad person. They'll only know her as a criminal. But she is scared, and she's a talented artist, and she loves kids. She was a camp counselor and volunteered at the local family shelter. No one will ever know that with them sitting here." I very politely asked the guards if they could leave while Lily was intubated. They very politely told me they could not. I asked Nancy if she could send me pictures of the Lily that she wants us to know. She did. We made posters for her room. Nancy was glad for this. She said, if Lily had anything to say about it, she would have art everywhere. At least you're learning more about the real Lily. I thought about how many providers Lily had. During rounds, I explained Nancy's fears that we would only see Lily as a criminal. I have an idea, Nat said. Nat was one of our resident doctors. She said, what if we honor what Lily would want? What if we each bring Nancy a picture of a piece of art we love or a view of something we find beautiful? What an amazing idea, and what an amazing doctor. And everyone got into it. For the next week, techs, therapists, doctors, nurses, housekeepers brought a picture of art with them. Often I would see them sit down with Nancy, listening to her tell them about Lily. Lily never woke up. She died in a hospital room surrounded by pictures of her with her family and friends, and pictures of art, gifts to her and her grandma from her providers. We saw this art so much more than we saw her guards. A year after Lily died, we got a card from Nancy. You all didn't save Lily's life, but you did save her. You saved her reputation. You made sure she didn't die as a criminal. I'm starting a nonprofit in her name to bring art to kids in need. I want to keep alive the memory of my beautiful artist, Lily. A God above us didn't save Lily's life in the way her grandma asked, but her care team used their goodness to save something so important for Lily and for Nancy. I wish I could hold us here all day to keep telling you stories about miracles of human making. There's so much pain in our world, and there's so much compassion. Have you ever been the recipient of miracles? Have you received something extraordinary made possible by human love? What can your love create for our world? I know we've seen in this congregation that we are capable of extraordinary acts. We are capable of miracles. Every Sunday, we light our chalice, symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith. This faith that reminds us that we are all inherently worthy and good. This faith that calls us to work for justice, equity, and compassion in our human relationships. The service begins when our service ends. What if we become the chalice outside of these walls? What if our love would spark acts of goodness? What if we illuminate our world, become beacons of love? God made the blind see. We believe God will bring a miracle, my patient's niece said. Whether by chance or by God, we are here. Imagine what our love could help people see and the miracles that we can create. It is okay to wait on miracles, to rest and to pray for them. I also ask you to believe in the miracles you can create. It's in every one of us. Your divine power, your love is extraordinary, and we need you. Amen.
ourselves to remember and forgive.
To love and to serve, to dwell together in peace. We promise to love and to serve, to dwell together in peace. We promise to love and to serve, to dwell together in peace. We promise to love and to serve, to dwell together in peace. We promise to love and to serve, to dwell together in peace. We promise to love and to serve, to dwell together in peace. We The morning breaks with the promise of the holy. This day invites us to risk showing up. The morning breaks with the promise of the holy. This day invites us to risk showing up. The morning breaks the promise of the holy. This day invites us to risk showing up. The morning breaks the promise of the holy. This day invites us to risk showing up. The morning breaks with the promise of the
Thank you all for the beautiful anthem this morning. Arlington Street is entirely self-sustaining, and it's up to us. Our generosity continues to be astounding. Thank you for your commitment to our staff, our building, and our beloved spiritual community. Each Sunday, we share our collection plate with a partner in our mission of love, service, justice, and peace. This week, as we reel from the news of the devastating storm and floods in North Carolina and Florida, as well as the humanitarian crisis as a result of Israel's bombing of Lebanon, we share our plate with an organization that is offering support in both locations, World Central Kitchen. When disaster strikes, WCK's relief team mobilizes with the urgency of now to start cooking and serving meals to people in need. By partnering with organizations on the ground and activating a network of local restaurants, food trucks, and emergency kitchens, WCK serves comforting meals to survivors of disasters quickly and effectively. To support regional economies, WCK prioritizes purchasing local ingredients to cook with or distribute directly to families in need. World Central Kitchen knows that good food provides not only nourishment, but also comfort and hope, especially in times of crisis. Every other Wednesday, I attend services at Sanctuary Boston, a multi-generational spiritual community that is grounded in Unitarian Universalist principles. We had a weekend retreat earlier this month, and I got to know a woman who is a multi-faith chaplain at a college here in Massachusetts. I had a great conversation with her about miracles after a worship service, and one phrase that she kept repeating is how we are completely immersed in miracles. I immediately thought of the ways we show up for one another here at Arlington Street. We are completely immersed in miracles of our own creation for one another. The other day, Reverend Ali said that love is an action word here, and that stuck with me. I think that is one of the many things that makes our beloved spiritual community so beautiful. We are intentional about the ways we show up for each other, and there are so many moments of wonder and beauty we create for one another by sharing resources we have with those in need, sending gift baskets filled with comfort items, expressing care, offering a shoulder to lean on in the pews. The list goes on. Sharing is one of our greatest gifts, our time, our resources, our creativity, presence, and support. When we put our love into action here, we are completely immersed in miracles. Please take a moment now to join me in giving to sustain our beloved Arlington Street. You can give online at ascboston.org or find instructions in the order of service for giving via the QR code, Venmo, or text message. You can also mail a check to the church or use the envelopes in the pews, which can be given to the ushers as they come through momentarily with collection plates. Thank you for your generosity.
It's in every one of us to be wise, find your heart, open up both your eyes. We can all know everything without ever knowing why. It's in every one of us, by and by. It's in every one of us to be wise. Find your love and open up both your eyes. We can all know everything without ever knowing why. It's in everyone, every one of us, by and by. It's in every one of us to be wise. Find your strength and open up both your eyes. We can all know everything without ever knowing why. It's in every one of us, by and by. It's in every one of us, by and by. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Just going to add some words to this prayer that Joe's already started for us. I invite you to join me, spirit of prayer and meditation. Source of all love, we take in the pain of our hurting world, hurting neighborhoods, and hurting hearts. There are so many miracles we wait on. As hurricanes and storms hit our shores and wars continue to rage in the Middle East, in Ukraine, and in so many places named and unnamed. And our election nears, looming over us with all that is at stake. Keep us from being paralyzed by the fear and pain of it all. Protect the flame of compassion and connection alive in each of us and help us pass it on. Let whatever we can muster, our love, our prayers, our conversations, our resources, our actions, let all that we can muster breed miracles. May we keep hold of our faith as we navigate very difficult times and remember that the holy and the hope is in every one of us. Amen.
Our final hymn is This Little Light of Mine. I invite us to rise in body, rise in spirit. If you think you might know this one, I'm going to call out the verses as we go. Feel free to let your eyes gaze around it. All of us together in this space who are on Zoom. And that's we're not staring into a book or a piece of paper, and it always feels a little better. Here we go. 2, 3, 4. This little light of mine, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. All through the night, all through the night. I'm gonna let it shine all through the night. shine. Everywhere I go, everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, oh, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, oh, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, 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 let it shine. Amen.
Before our benediction, I invite those of you in the Zoom room to please reach out your hands and touch the sides of your square. And those of you in the sanctuary to please raise your hands, palms out. Let's send loving kindness to the people to your left and to your right. Send loving kindness to the person on either side of you and to the people on either side of them. Send out love into this beloved spiritual community and feel it coming back to you. As you feel it coming back, bring your hands back to your heart center to carry the love that is the spirit of this congregation with you wherever you go. Our benediction for today is called For Miracles and Elijah. When the pain of the ordinary living builds to a mountain too big to bear, and everything in you is pleading for a miracle, lift your eyes. As you look up, may you feel every iteration of the divine and every corner of the universe listening to you, letting you know you are worthy of miracles. Lower your eyes. As you look down, may you feel the company of millions of beings who share your ground, letting you know the extraordinary also lives in the interconnectedness. Close your eyes. As you turn inward, may you marvel at all that breathed you into being and shaped and refined your soul, letting you know you are the essence of a miracle. As you face the pains made of all that is ordinary in our world, may you look up, look down, look within, and see the extraordinary. May miracles always be within your reach. Love is the spirit of this congregation. May love hold us all until we meet again. Let us keep this faith, beloveds, and pass it on. The service begins when the service ends. I love you. Amen.
Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. For your people are my people. Your people
Please visit ascboston.org for more information about this historic Unitarian Universalist congregation. Arlington Street Church, gathered in love and service for justice and peace.